Why choose Go? Often the language is also referred to as Golang, and there's a lot of really great reasons to choose Go. And for me, the thing that really sort of made me go, whoa, really? Are you kidding me? Like the thing that really made me stop and take notice was that Go comes with amazing credentials. There is no other language in the marketplace which has credentials like Go. And what I mean by credentials is like who is behind the language. And when you look at who is behind Go, like Go was invented by geniuses at one of the most amazing software engineering firms ever to exist. So Go came out of Google and was created by these guys, Ken Thompson, Rob Pike, and Robert Gressimer. And if you look at what these guys also worked on and contributed to, like C, Unix, UTF-8, these are some of the most significant things and most influential things in computer science. And so just the fact that Go was created at Google by what I categorize these guys who are geniuses, to me that really speaks volumes. If you look at a lot of other languages that are out there, Java, created by Sun Microsystems, gone, right? Sun Microsystems is gone. Python, created by Guido, whatever his last name is, broke backwards compatibility to go to version 3 and nobody followed him and they all stuck with 2. So the creator of that language said, hey, I think that this current version is no good. I'm going to go to a new version. And he broke backwards compatibility, like the changes were so significant, and nobody followed him. So Python, Java, Node.js, some of the primary contributors to the Node.js source code left Node and came over to Go, right? Not as like engineers at Google, but came over to Go just because they're like, I want to use Go. It's such a better language. Anyhow, so this is one of the main reasons I chose Go and really made me take note of it, is that it has amazing credentials. The people who created it and the company that it originated at really spoke volumes to me about this language. So here are some of the buzzwords for why you'd want to choose Go. It's performant, so lightning fast. It takes advantage of multiple cores really well. So it has this concept of mechanical sympathy, right? Like the code runs in a way which is sympathetic with the machine. And so the code, for instance, one of the things it will do is that the data structures are built in such a way, and I know that I'm just going to like throw out some stuff here, but the data structures are built such in a way that the memory is contiguous. So when you grab a bunch of memory from RAM and bring that into cache, it's getting all the stuff it needs correctly so that it's fast, right? So it takes advantage of multiple cores really well and has this concept of mechanical sympathy, right, where it's sympathetic to the machine and the hardware and knows how to work with it well. It does concurrency really well, so concurrency is baked right into the language, and that's one of the main things which Go is known for, is being able to do concurrency very easily and really well. It's a compiled language and garbage collected, right? So it's lightning fast and has all of the safety checking of being statically typed. It's a networked language, not a networked language, but it takes advantage of networked environments really well. So you can write programs for networked environments really well. It has a clean syntax, so it's beautiful, straightforward code. It's got a powerful standard library. It's a low-level systems language with a standard library that has a lot of high-level functionality. It's garbage collected, so, I already said that. And it's portable, right? So it compiles onto many different operating systems. And I could be on one operating system and I could compile it for a different architecture, and then my compiled version that I did on one system would run on the other system. It's also backed by Google, though it's open source, right? So Google made it open source because they knew that for this language to have legs and be viable and to be adopted in the marketplace, it needed to be open source. And so they created it, and then they opened it up to the world and said, hey, look at this great language we created. Let's start having fun with it. And so here's a little schematic, a subjective graph that this guy, Brad Fitzpatrick, put together. And he presented this at the Tokyo Gopher conference. And people who study the Go language are called gophers, by the way. If you look at the official website, golang.org, right, golang.org, you can see that here's the gopher. And so, is the language fast and efficient for computers? Yeah, these languages here are. And is it fast and fun for humans? You could kind of see the evolution of programming right here pretty much, right? It's difficult, still really challenging, easier, and much, much better right up here, right? And so that's sort of where it sits. And I think that's a really accurate representation. It's, you know, both fast and efficient and fun. Well, fast and efficient for computers and fast, efficient, and fun for humans. I don't think computers have fun as a category. All right, and then one more slide he put together was like, hey, how does it deal with concurrency? And efficient concurrency, like all these up here, they have pretty efficient concurrency, right? Equally efficient. But how easy is it to do concurrency, right? Well, pretty difficult to do concurrency. Easier, easiest, right? And then down here, not so good at all, right? You can't really do concurrency at all with those guys. So here's the release that Google shared when they released the language. When it was still unfinished in 2009, they released it and opened it up to the world and said, hey, check this thing out that we're doing. And then I think the first stable version was like 2013, and then the language was completed actually in 2015, just like, you know, 2 months ago from when I'm recording this video. So you're learning Go at a really great time. And I'll just let you pause this video and read it, but I really liked what Google had to say when they released this language, and I think it says a lot. And you could go to the link here if you want to check out like the blog post where they released the language. And then here's one of my mentors in the Go programming language, Bill Kennedy, who is a genius in and of himself. And he's really taught me a lot. And anyhow, he has a great book called Go in Action. And this is what he had to say about it. So again, I'll just let you pause this video and take a look at that. And then finally, my other mentor in Go programming, and you know, that's the way it goes, right? You find other people who are really great at something and learn from them. And so these are two of the guys I've really learned from. Caleb Doxey, he's also written a book, and you can check that one out online. And so here, you know, here's how he described it. And again, a bunch of buzzwords for the language. But again, if you want to read this, you can just pause the video and read it. So this is like one of the most important things to me. It's like, okay, well, that's all speaks volumes, right? Just the fact that like Go like does all that stuff and concurrency's baked in and it looks great and it's got great credentials, you know, it came from Google and the people who created it were geniuses and I totally respect them. But that doesn't really do me any good if I learn a language and nobody's using it. So what are the companies that are using Go? And so I'm just going to fly through this and you know, and Google, of course, and YouTube and Apple. So here's the press release where Apple is looking for a software engineer who knows Go. Dropbox, hugely invested in Go, right? And there's a blog post that talks about it. All of these companies, and again, you can just pause this video if you kind of want to take them in. Docker, Flipboard, Firefox, The Economist. The New York Times is huge, like all Go. Government UK, Heroku, MongoDB, IBM, GE Software, Intel. What's that little cat? GitHub, Twitter, Facebook. I'm going to stop saying these names. Maldives Islands, their official stuff's all in Go. Go is huge in China. All right, so a lot of companies using Go. You know, if you go and you look, there's probably even more now from when I got that collection together. I just want to get a sample. And then I mentioned that thing about like, you know, one of the primary contributors, Node.js, bailing on Node and moving over to Go. And here's the post where TJ Hollywoodchuk, who is one of the primary contributors to Node.js, was like, to heck with Node, I'm going to move over to Go. So you can check that out if you want. And here's another guy who bailed on Node, a big contributor to Node, and went over to Golang. Felix, whatever his last name is. So what other language is all of this used for? Web apps, scripts, system admin, image processing, load balancers, servers, crypto, hardware, and in beta, even Android and iOS apps can be written in Go. So how awesome is that, right? But that's, again, like in 2016, a year from now when I'm making this video, that's going to be more solidified. But they're writing, all of the packages and libraries you'll need to do Android and iOS apps in Go. So I really think it's a language which is coming. And I think I mentioned this, right? In the promo video, Bill Gates has that quote that if you want to be successful in life, get in front of what's coming and let it hit you. And I really feel like, this thing is going to, particularly with Android and iOS apps in 2 or 3 years, going to be hugely popular. All right, so initially our Go-based system ran on 20 servers with 20 million, this is from a Chinese website, real-time connections in total. The system sent 2 million messages a day. That system now runs on 400 servers, supporting 200 million real-time connections. Holy cow. It now sends over 10 billion messages daily, and they do that with Go. And so you could follow this link. I'll give you access to all these presentations. So do less, enable more, Russ Cox. And that's kind of like the motto, one of the mottos of Go. Russ Cox is the tech lead for the Go project at Google. And it's really about doing less and enabling more. And that's what they've sort of thought about when they were building Go, like how do we, enable developers to do more. And that's also like, for you as a developer, like how do I do less and get more done? And so Go is a very productive language to work in. So here's a review. Golang is awesome. Holy crap, a lot of great companies are already using Golang. And you should have already learned Golang a year ago, but at least you're learning it now. All right, and a few of the sources that I looked at for grabbing the data in this presentation are all right there. So if you want access to the presentation and all these presentations, let me get you a URL for that. So this URL right here, and I'll let you write that down, will take you to the syllabus for my advanced web programming class, fall 2015. And in here you'll find links, and this will eternally be up there. The universe and the world will end, and you'll still be able to access this on Google servers. But in here you'll find links, right off the bat, there's just like links to 2 presentations I gave at a conference. And then here are all the presentation slides. So if you click that link, it'll take you to all the presentation slides for my Fresno State class. And eventually, I'll also provide you with another link for all the presentation slides or any different presentation slides that we do in this course. But anyhow, that's where you get to some of these resources, and particularly that last slide deck I just showed you. All right, forwards and onwards. Let's start writing some code.